Okay, so good afternoon, everyone who is watching the show live right now. Today we have Justin with us, who is the founder of PowerX. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
To talk about Justin, he's a leader who has spent over 25 years shaping the world of telecom and enterprise technology. He is a founder, Executive Vice-Chairman of PowerX, a company using AI to transform how telecom towers are monitored, managed, and optimized. So before building PowerX in 2017, he worked on complex global IT and telecom projects for some of the world's biggest names, including Ericsson, IBM, delivering large-scale managed services and outsourcing across multiple countries. Driven by innovation, efficiency, and real-world impact, his mission is clear: use technology that deliver true business value. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Justin Heal. Justin, so could you let us know what exactly is this PowerX all about?
Thank you, Tareen. PowerX, we're a software business, and we provide software that takes in data from power systems at cell towers. So we're talking diesel generators, rectifiers, batteries, solar, any kind of power system. And we examine the data, and we use some clever tech AI, machine learning, and data science to optimize the operation of those towers. And what that means in practice is we identify reactively and proactively where cost is being wasted, excess CO2 is being generated, and we use the data to inform real-world decisions on better ways to manage the infrastructure. We are.
Okay, so just just go ahead.
We're hardware agnostic, so we work with any brand of power equipment, rectifiers, controllers, batteries, etc. And we're kind of like the glue in the middle that makes sure each one of the different assets is operating efficiently in cooperation with all the other assets. It's no good having a really fantastic single piece of infrastructure if the other 3 or 4 pieces don't come up to that level or that standard. So we use machine learning, data science, AI techniques to look at patterns, to look at trends, to look at things that are invisible to the human eye, to say, here is a problem, this is the exact problem, this is how much it's costing you, and this is what you need to do to fix that problem.
And what was one real-world problem in telecom that pushed you to start this particular PowerX?
As you mentioned, in my previous careers, I worked for Ericsson and prior to that IBM, and I was just obsessed with energy and wastage, and got to the point where, going around looking at mobile infrastructure around the world in my Ericsson days, it became very obvious to me that the one area of the tower networks that is very rarely looked at is the power systems, because they're complex, they're very multi-vendor, they're very, very tricky, and the cost of running the power just used to go up year on year on year. And I got to the point where I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this myself. I need to look at the power systems, work out a way to optimize it, and then take that to the telecoms world, and started PowerX back in 2017.
And what made you to start? What actually changed in 2017? What was the entry point actually?
The main reason, really, Tarun, was I would talk to a lot of CTOs and CFOs around the world who would say to me, you guys are doing a great job, we're really happy with it, but the one area that we really, really need someone to focus on is our energy bills, our consumption bills. And that kind of chimed very well with me, because I was already looking at energy and power. And when you have many customers around the world all giving you the same message, that's kind of a good incentive to think, you know what, this is obviously something that's really troubling the industry. And I just made the decision that I was going to set up PowerX and try and address the problem.
Okay. And so did you integrate AI at the very beginning from 2017, or this AI part recently, like you integrated it? Like,
We started with it from day one. We had
okay.
a great introduction by winning one of the places on the IBM Watson Challenge. IBM Watson is IBM's AI platform. And we entered a competition as PowerX to design a new use case for IBM Watson. So we were AI from day one. We were fortunate enough to be one of the winners. So we got fantastic support from IBM, and we built our first version of our platform back in the day. So yeah, we started with that sole intention of making it intelligent, making decisions based on the data, not based on rules or predetermined values. It was take the data in, assess it, and then make a decision.
And most people see mobile tower, but they never think about what runs behind them. Like, what really drives the cost of a tower operations?
The main driver for tower operations, OpEx wise, is the cost of energy. Now, that might be utility grid, that might be diesel generators, a combination of. A lot of sites are going solar hybrid, which is great because it gives you, in effect, free energy. But all those different power systems, and of course, lithium batteries are rolling out globally now. And all those power systems need to interoperate efficiently so that you get the best from each different asset. So let me give you an example. If you implement a solar hybrid solution at a cell tower, that's fantastic. It'll reduce the CO2, it'll reduce the cost of running. However, you must monitor and manage that solar infrastructure to make sure you're getting the optimal amount of energy generated from your panels. And what we see on a global basis are things like, broken panels, missing panels, breakers that have tripped, so they're not getting enough energy generated. Dirty panels is obviously a big thing, and when they get to a certain level, they'll need to be cleaned. So you always need, like any element of a cell network, optimize the power elements of it. And in terms of OpEx, for a number of networks, OpEx, the biggest OpEx category is the energy to run those towers.
Okay. And how much energy waste still happens at sites due to this manual monitoring? Like, do you have any rough idea about it? Like,
Yes, I do. I'm going to use the word significant. Okay. When we look at any tower network, we will find ways to optimize the power consumption, using the batteries in a better way. The solar may not be operating correctly. For example, the diesel generators are running when they shouldn't be because there's charge in the batteries, etc. So in terms of wasted money, I mean, proper wasted money, it can be significant in some cases. Our real world results from real customers will deliver at least a double-digit percentage reduction in cost. And our best case to date in a network was 31% reduction in OpEx. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen on every single network because that was quite a complex set of infrastructures. But by focusing on those different elements and how they work in cooperation, we will find significant benefits for our customers.
okay. And you also mentioned that you started AI from the very start. Like, so what kind of data does your AI analyze to improve energy use and uptime? Like,
We take in billions of pieces of data a day from our customers. So the kind of data that we're analyzing is the quality of the grid, the availability of the grid, diesel generators when they're running, when they're not running, the quality of the power they're generating, the phase balance. We take in solar irradiation. We take from a third party that allows us to calculate and predict very, very accurately what solar energy will be produced on a specific site on a specific day. So we can correlate that. We do a lot of correlation. We take in lots of third-party data as well, and we mix it all up, and we look for patterns, look for trends, and we also look for areas that are invisible to the human eye. So cell towers generally, they'll be running 100% available. Everything is fine. There's no real problems, but they are costing a lot more in OpEx to run than they could do if they were optimized. I'll give you a simple example, a very simple, very simple example, just to illustrate the point. Maybe you've got a grid connection, a utility grid connection, and a diesel generator. If the grid is unreliable, how would you know when the grid returns after a power outage that the diesel generator always stops running? And the PowerX platform will take a look at the data and say, hang on, we've got good utility grid here, but the diesel generator is still running. That's going to be costing you a lot of money. That's a very simple example of how we identify where there is an issue on the infrastructure.
And what kind of cost saving are operators seeing after AI-based optimization or using your tool?
Well, as mentioned, it's we deliver at least double-digit percentage in reduction, but over and above the cost reduction, what we can do also, and we do for our clients, is we identify areas that they need to or can invest capex to reduce their overall running costs. So we help target their capital investments in the right places. So every single cell tower is individual. It runs as an individual entity, and in infrastructure being added to those towers to make them more efficient needs to be tuned to exactly that tower. So how many extra batteries do I put on? How many solar panels do I need? What is the situation with my rectifiers, et cetera, et cetera. So we come at it from a very holistic perspective. Day-to-day OpEx, hugely important. CO2 reduction, hugely important. Capital expenditure, hugely important as well. To try to target all the areas of expenditure to make sure each tower on its own runs in the most efficient and most optimal manner it can.
And how would you describe the current state of tower infrastructure market in Asia? What's your view on that?
I think the tower infrastructure market in Asia is full of innovation. I mean, it really is. It is growing enormously. There is an insatiable appetite for digital infrastructure across the region, but that brings its own challenges. Deploying cell infrastructure, small cells, rural, ultra-rural, etc., it is fantastic for the communities that they go into. It is fantastic for the industry, but it brings with it the challenges to make sure that those tower infrastructures are monitored and managed efficiently. And when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of towers, there really is only one way to make sure that they're working optimally, and that's using the machines, using the data science, using the machine learning, using the AI techniques to make sure that all those towers at the same time are working optimally. And when there's something wrong, flag it so that a human needs to do something to it. But you have to have the intelligence so you're not generating false positives. So you have to have the models and the infrastructure to make sure that when you ask a human to do something, it's actually something that needs to be done.
And which Asian market excites you the most right now? And what are the biggest challenges these tower companies in Asia still struggle with?
That's a very good question. The different markets have different characteristics. So I'll start with India. I mean, India has huge scale, which excites me tremendously, because one thing that PowerX platform does do very well is huge scale. So tens, hundreds of thousands of towers, absolutely excites me tremendously. Other markets, for example, the Philippines, a great market for growth. The Philippine infrastructure is due to grow by 40 to 50,000 towers in the next 5 years, which is fantastic. Indonesia, again, a very similar kind of status. tens of thousands of towers, which means tens of thousands of opportunities to optimize, tens of thousands of opportunities to reduce CO2, et cetera, et cetera. So the whole Asian market is fantastic. And our partnership with K Tower is another significant milestone in our expansion in Asia, in bringing rural connectivity to Papua New Guinea. And that's super exciting because it's bringing digital infrastructure to communities that have never had it before. And that brings with it a huge wealth of benefits as well. It allows those communities to connect to the outside world, to digital infrastructure. It's fantastic. I really, really, really am very proud of what we're doing.
So that's my next question. So you recently announced a proof of concept and partnership with K Tower. So what does this partnership unlock? And also walk us through what exactly was this proof of concept all about?
So the partnership is where K Tower are deploying in rural and ultra-rural locations in Papua New Guinea. And what that means is, for those sites, they need to run as optimally as possible. And by that, what I mean is use as little diesel as possible, because it costs a significant amount of money to go and refuel those diesel tanks. So you've got to minimize the diesel consumption. You've got to maximize the solar yield. You've got to maximize the use of the batteries. There is no grid connection in many of these places. So it's either solar energy or diesel generators. And what we do in PowerX, we are monitoring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the towers. We are spotting where there is the opportunity to optimize and increase the solar yield and decrease the diesel consumption. Okay. I'll go back to one of my examples from earlier. In the solar world, there are a whole number of problems and issues that solar generation can have, which we spot from the data. And in K Towers, it's very straightforward. Every kilowatt hour from solar is one less you have to generate from diesel. So are the panels generating what they should be, correlated with the weather on that day? Yes or no? If yes, great. Are the batteries capturing that solar energy? Yes or no? If they're not, why not? What needs to happen? And we will diagnose the problem. And that way, K Tower always have optimal infrastructure, minimum CO2 emissions, and the local communities get 100% availability of their infrastructure. And then going forward, our partnership with K Tower is to expand the number of sites in Papua New Guinea, and subject to the growing success, we will jointly do that across wider portion of Asia.
Okay. So modernizing connectivity in ultra-rural Pacific region definitely sounds challenging. So what makes these deployments pretty unique?
The uniqueness of it, Tarun, is the fact that we're looking at the tower holistically. We're looking at all elements of the tower. We're taking data from all the different systems. We're analyzing it in real time, and we are alerting either the K Towers Network Operations Center or field technicians that something needs to happen, or we can predict something is needing to be done at some stage. What we also then can do is make sure that any visits to sites are optimized. So rather than, if there's a problem, go and fix it, identify, well, there's a problem, but actually there's a couple of other things that would really help, that don't justify a trip on its own. But if you're going to that site, optimize the infrastructure by doing A, B, and C. And that way, K Tower always get the most optimal running at the most optimal point in terms of cost and emissions.
How does PowerX adapt its technology for islands and remote landscape? I'm pretty sure it must be very tough remote areas that PowerX must be working with towers and all. So how do you adapt its technology on such remote locations?
Yeah, I mean, the more remote, the more tricky, the better for us, because that's where the value of the machine learning, the data science, and the AI comes into play. We have one customer in the Philippines where we're advising where they can move their batteries to and from. So some sites have got a shortfall in batteries. Some sites have got excess capacity. Now, as you know, the Philippines is 7,000 islands. So our AI model calculates which batteries can be moved on the same island, so it avoids going across water. And that prediction is based on the make, the model, the capacity, the chemistry, the SLA provided to the customer, the health of the batteries. It takes a whole bunch of data, and if there is the possibility of moving a battery from site A on the same island as site B, we make a recommendation to the customer, who will then look into that recommendation and potentially act upon it. So the more complex, the better, but also at scale. So if it's in a country like India, for example, tens of thousands of towers, all operating, all available, all doing a great job. But in the background, PowerX are saying, we can reduce your OPEX by doing this, by doing this, by doing this on a tower by tower basis. Because as I say, no two towers are the same.
And all these data would be on real-time basis, right? Like all the data gathering that is happening from your side, everything would be on real-time basis, right?
Yeah, it's real time or near real time. And by near real time, I mean a few minutes.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay.
It's all pretty much near real time.
And where do you see this tower infrastructure industry heading over the next 5 years? Like,
I think that the tower industry is going to adopt more and more AI, machine learning, data science, because the one thing that I'm absolutely convinced of is the towercos, the mobile network operators, are always having to do more for less. So more coverage, higher data speeds, more technologies, more sectors. And also, there's always a squeeze on less OPEX, less CapEx, optimize what you've got, and use those techniques that are available to significantly reduce your OPEX and CapEx to really target that money in the right place. So I think that the future of the industry is really bright. It's a great industry to be in at the time now. It's bringing digital infrastructure all over the world, which is the lifeblood of any economy.
and how big a role will AI play in future of telecom networks? Like,
I think it will play a significant role. I personally do not think it will replace humans. I think it will augment them, because it always needs to be checks and balances. But there always needs to, you can't automate everything, because, for example, cell tower networks are unique. You can spot things, you can identify things, you can filter out all the noise, which is what we also do. In network operation centers, traditionally there'll be thousands of alarms coming in all the time. And what we do is we look at each one of those alarms individually, and the intelligence filters out all what we call the noise. It's an interesting alarm. It's been generated, but you don't need to do anything about it. So park it. Only show to the people the alarms that need to be looked at. Those people still need to be sitting there applying their knowledge and their experience to those alarms. So we augment them. I don't ever think it'll replace them completely.
and what's the long-term vision for PowerX?
Long-term vision for us is really just to keep spreading the AI, the data science, the machine learning message, proving to our customers and new prospects that this stuff really does work. It is a very, very complex area of the tower infrastructure. And our vision and our plan is to continue to expand in Asia, continue to expand where we have a significant foothold in Africa. Plus, our platform now is relevant for mature markets. I'm currently sitting in Germany, and we have a growing interest in the United States of America also. So the vision for PowerX is all geographies.
Okay. And what's the one hard lesson you learned as a founder that no one wants you about? Like,
I think the one lesson I would say is inertia. So inertia is a big challenge in big corporates, and I'm not sure that there's an answer for it, to be honest, Tarun. But even if you have a product like PowerX that demonstrates unequivocally, significant cost reductions, 10, 15, 20% reductions, the big lesson I would say to anyone going forward is there is a lot you need to do with an enterprise organization to actually take that trial, that proof of concept, and put it into reality. Okay, so be prepared for a bit of corporate inertia and having to jump quite a lot of hurdles to get it implemented. But once you win that race, the results speak for themselves. That it's outstanding.
Okay. And if a young engineer wants to work at this intersection of AI and telecom, like what should they focus on today? Like,
I would encourage young engineers to move into this industry. I think it's a fantastic growing industry for the future. I think the advice I would give would be, if you're going to move into this industry, make sure you move into it with a view to what is the end benefit to the customer that's paying the bill. There are some great AI applications. There are some fantastic situations out there, but occasionally you have to take a step back and think, okay, is a customer going to pay for this? And what is the business benefit? What is the real return on interest that they are going to get out of this really cool solution? And sometimes solutions are a little bit early for the market. But my advice would be to any young engineer to say to he or she, this is a great industry, move into it. I'm obviously biased, but it is only going to grow like Topsy in the future. It's going to adopt all the new techniques. It's the basis for digital economies in communities and towns and cities throughout the whole world. So I would strongly encourage it.
Justin, I'll just take two questions from the audience. The first question is that one of the user is asking if they have to reach out to PowerX, whether it's a telecom company should reach out or it's the tower companies, they should be reaching out.
12:30.
Who should be the one who should be reaching out to you?
Well, I would say one thing. Whoever is responsible and pays the bill for the power consumption, and whoever pays for the infrastructure for that power consumption. So if you hold the risk, we can deliver you the reward. But by all means, reach out to me. I'm super happy to contact people and give them advice and guidance. Very, very happy to do that.
There is one more question. The person asked that will they be able to showcase any sort of a trial before we try it on a full large scale basis? Can they be tried on one individual tower or something so that they can see the efficiency? Is it possible for them to do a trial?
That is the answer to that, Tarun, is absolutely yes. What we do with our customers, and what I would say is, we're very happy to prove our technology in advance of a commercial deployment. And what we tend to do is take a representative sample of towers, so not just one or two, because it's a software platform. We can do 100, we can do 200, doesn't really matter on the number. We'll agree some very straightforward success criteria, and then we will put a trial or a POC in place. And if we meet those success criteria, we will then deploy on a commercial basis. So yes, we are very happy to prove what we say it does prior to any commercial deployment.
Where would be the data would be hosted? One of the user is asking, will they be having any application to monitor it, or it would be on your platform or a dashboard? That is another one of the question one of the users has asked.
We give all our customers dashboard access to our RMS base layer, and then the intelligence and all the AI layers above it. So you have, as a user, full access to see everything that we can see. The data is all cloud hosted. So access from a web browser, secure access, obviously, from a web browser. We will also automatically send you trouble tickets to say, we've spotted this, it needs fixing. We've spotted that, it needs fixing. And we tailor every single solution to meet the customer's requirements, depending on what trouble ticketing system they have, what asset management system we need to interface to, et cetera, et cetera. So we tailor the implementations. They're very straightforward, but we use either APIs or MQTT.
Okay, there is this one more question. Like this user is asking that. Just 1 second. Yeah. So this particular user wants to know, like the dashboard access, can that be whitelisted? Like, would you
Yes.
be able to provide it? Probably, I believe he's the vendor, I guess, so maybe they are asking that. Like, so they just.
Yeah, we're very used to lots of security requirements. We're ISO 27001 certified. So in terms of whitelisting, IP addresses, security, cloud hosting, etc., etc. Yes, white hosting, yes. Whitelisting, apologies, yes. And as 27001, we're very au fait with all the technology around security.
Okay, I'll just take this one more last question. He's asking, apart from saving power efficiency, what are the other things PowerX can help? If you can just quickly just put it on 2-3 words, like apart from saving
Yes.
this power.
Yeah, sure. I mean, power is one thing. Increasing the resilience of the towers, so preventing any SLA failures is another area by looking at the infrastructure to make sure that the power is set up correctly. Optimizing truck rolls to make sure that you don't roll a truck when it's not necessary, because that's very expensive. Looking at the capex, if you are a tower co or a telecoms operator and you're looking to spend capex on your infrastructure, where's the best place to implement that to get the best return on investment?
Okay. Thank you so much, Justin. Still, we are getting few questions like, is there case studies or anything available? So probably they can visit PowerX, PowerX.ai portal. They can, if there is any
Correct,
case
yes.
study, they can go through it. So thank you
Right.
so much, Justin, for your time. And if there is any last word you want to put forward, feel free to put forward. Like, yeah. Is there anything that you want to put?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Tarun, to you for this session, and very much appreciate it. And just to re-emphasize, if people want to get in touch with me, go on to www.powerx.ai, and that will reach its way through to myself, and I'll be very happy to either talk to you or my team. And again, look forward to talking to you again, Tarun, sometime. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Justin.